Hi, thanks for clicking on this video. I'm Joe, and this is my channel, Joanna's Lens. And no, the title is not a clickbait. I really do want to share an experience with you using a popular booking platform that I think you will find very educational and eye-opening. But before I do that, I want to come clean and tell you that this is my very first video ever. Very much out of my comfort zone here, but I really want to share this with you. So yes, please be kind. Okay, let's get right into it then. So this past spring, I was planning a trip to Croatia. We were to leave on May 16th. And about beginning of April, I got on booking.com to look for an apartment, like an Airbnb or an apartment, to book for our first 3 nights in Dubrovnik. So as you can imagine, the results were plentiful, really almost overwhelming. So I looked at them and selected, marked a few as favorites. And I looked to see that most of the ones I looked at anyway, they were all around Dubrovnik, around the vicinity there, maybe a few miles, couple miles, this direction, that direction. But ultimately, it didn't really matter to me if it was a couple of miles this way or that way, because we were going to have a rental car. So I decided to focus on reviews, which is something that we all do, right? And one particular property stood out, and yeah, the pictures were beautiful, the reviews were great. So I went ahead and reserved it. And about 2-3 weeks later, I got an email that the cancellation period was over, that booking.com was going to go ahead and charge my card for the property, which was about $455 for 3 nights. So yeah, not cheap. And I thought, well, that's great. I like the property. Yeah, we do want to stay there. So that's exactly what happened. The card was charged, and I was glad to have that out of the way. So now fast forward to 2 days before our departure, and I decided to get online and check and see what would be the easiest way to get from the apartment to Old Town, Dubrovnik. Because from my search, I understood that there were some buses running there. Some properties were even within walking distance, or yeah, just driving, right? So I get on Google Maps and I punch in the address from the property to Old Town, and to my utter amazement and shock, Google Maps is showing that the only and best way to get from the apartment to Old Town is by car. And that's because it's a 6-hour drive and it's over 500 kilometers away, which translates to about 360 some miles. And I thought, no, this can't be right. I obviously messed up the address. I put in the wrong address, something, right? I mean, so quickly, trying to not to panic yet, I contacted the property directly, and either the owner or the manager did in fact confirm. This was through WhatsApp. So it was good that that conversation was in writing. And she did actually confirm that, yes, the property was that far away from Dubrovnik. It was, in fact, a 6-hour drive, well over 500 kilometers. Okay, and that's kind of when the panic set in. So I said, look, this is not what I was looking for, definitely not the location I was looking for. Go ahead and cancel it with the refund. Well, of course, it was past the refund period, cancellation with refund. So yeah, she refused. She said, no, it's past the cancellation date. So she referred me back to booking, and then the whole kind of a ping pong game started. I was being bounced back, as you can imagine, between the property, back to booking. I called booking, I emailed them, I explained what happened, how could this happen, why did this property show up in my search results? And I just kept getting the answer no. Ultimately, in the end, booking said, okay, if the property owner agrees to a cancellation with a refund, we're fine with that, but it's up to the property owner because the property owner declined. So really the only option I had left, one, to scramble and book another property in Dubrovnik. And two, I decided to dispute the charges with Capital One. So I did that right before we left, the day before we left on our vacation. So, I have to admit, it was a great vacation. We really enjoyed it, but it did put somewhat of a damper I'm not going to lie, right? I kept checking my email to see if I had an answer from Capital One, and it does take time. It usually takes 2-3 weeks to hear back from them, sometimes even longer. So that was always in the back of my mind, am I going to be out that $450 some dollars? It's a decent amount of money. So I did get an answer right after we got back. And to my amazement and really disappointment, Capital One ruled for Booking.com. However, they did give me an option to appeal that decision. So I decided that's exactly what I'm going to do. And I did appeal that decision. I sent my appeal in pretty quickly. And this time I got an answer pretty quickly, with 3-4 days later. And Capital One did in fact rule in my favor, and they did refund the money back to me. So they did charge back to Booking.com. So I was just so happy about that. And in my next video, I want to tell you how I did that, what kind of materials I used, how I went about this appeal to get the results that I did, even though it was past the cancellation time frame. And Booking.com was really using that as their biggest argument. That's all really they cared about. There is, amazingly enough, there is one more dispute, chargeback, involving this trip. I know, it was just one of those trips involving the rental car. And the interesting thing is, this time it involves Capital One's own booking site, CapitalOneTravel.com. And it was the rental car. They booked it through Budget in Dubrovnik. And a Budget ended up charging my card with unauthorized charges, claiming that I bought insurance, which I didn't. So that's another dispute that is still unresolved. We'll see hopefully I'll see soon what the outcome of that is, but I want to share that quick story with you in my next video. But I feel that the two most important takeaways from this experience, number one, document everything. Even though you have used the platform in the past, whether it's this platform or that platform, document everything. Even if you've never had issues before, take screenshots, keep emails, keep conversations, and keep it all until you are back from your vacation, until all the charges are settled, all the dust is settled, because you honestly never know. Another takeaway is, don't be intimidated. Don't be scared to speak up, to stand up for yourself, Don't be scared to ask for the resolution that you want for your money back. Yes, it is intimidating. I'm not going to lie. I was intimidated. Yeah, these are multi-billion dollar companies. I know it is intimidating, but I did it. And the outcome was exactly what I wanted. And in the next video, I do want to tell you how I did it. So if you have any comments, maybe something similar happened to you, please write below. I am really interested. I did do a little internet search about booking.com, some interesting results, as well as budget car rental in Dubrovnik. Very interesting results there. So we'll talk about that, explore that in the next video. In the meantime, I'm clicking off, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Take care. Bye.